You must recognize that your 25th year is the biological border. Scientific data confirms that the human brain, specifically the prefrontal cortex, the seat of executive function, impulse control, and strategic planning, reaches its final stage of development at 25. Before this, you were a biological prototype, governed by the volatility of youth. On February 21st, the prototype is retired. The old self, the version of you that was allowed to make excuses, to seek validation, and to find himself, must be clinically executed. If you carry the baggage of your 20-year-old self into your late 20s, you are not young at heart. You are developmentally stagnant. The 21st of February is the day the cradle is burned to provide heat for the throne. The first protocol of the 21st is the audit of the decade. You must perform a forensic review of the last 2,500 days. Every failure, every moment of hesitation, and every person who anchored you to mediocrity is a legacy bug in your system. You don't learn from them. You delete the association. On your birthday, you do not celebrate your existence. You liquidate your debts. This means ending zombie relationships, closing mental loops of regret, and accepting that the boy who started this journey is dead. You are performing a hard reset of your social and psychological bios. You enter the age of 25 with a zero-base identity. You are no longer who you were. You are what you build. Furthermore, understand the status shift of the quarter century. In the market and in the shadow network, a man under 25 is potential. A man at 25 is product. The world stops giving you participation trophies on February 21st. The social contract changes from support to expectation. This is the Oxy 3 reality check. If you have not established your sovereign monument or your sterile zone by this date, the system begins to categorize you as a service unit, a middleman, or a serf. The 25th birthday is your last exit from the herd. You must use the cold desolation of this milestone to fuel your final transition into the sovereign architect. The ultimate goal of the 21st February protocol is the transmutation of celebration into authority. While the normal 25-year-old is engaging in the ritual of the drain, parties, intoxication, social noise, you will engage in ritualized isolation. You spend the day in the sterile zone, auditing your dynastic shield, and finalizing the psychopathology of your offer. You use the date as a temporal anchor to lock in your new habits. You are programming the next decade of your reign. You don't want congratulations from the weak. You want compliance from the market. Your 25th birthday is the day you stop reacting to the calendar and start architecting the epoch. Finally realize that 25 is the peak of kinetic potential. Your testosterone, your cognitive speed, and your metabolic flexibility are at their absolute zenith. From this point on, every second you spend on trash tasks or social validation is a biological crime. You are at your most conductive. The 21st February protocol is the moment you switch the power grid to full output. You are no longer preparing, you are deploying. The old self was a student of the world. The new self is the owner of the reality. Now that the infant self has been liquidated, you enter the most dangerous and productive phase of your biological existence, the high-velocity decennium. The years between 25 and 35 are not for exploration. They are for market capture and infrastructure hardening. On February 21st, you stop being a freelancer and start being a global node. The roadmap for the next 1,825 days is built on the principle of aggressive verticality. You are not growing outward into more hobbies or social circles. You are growing upward into higher tiers of power and downward into deeper levels of systemic control. The first directive of the roadmap is the consolidation of the sovereign engine. Your 25th year is the time to finalize your synthetic agency. You must transition from doing the work to architecting the output. By age 26, your shadow team should be fully operational, handling the 80% of trash tasks while you spend 100% of your RAM on high-tier strategy and IOXY 3 creation. You are building a temporal monopoly while your peers are still figuring out their career. You are already operating with the leverage of 10 men. You use the velocity of your 54 daily videos to create a gravity well, pulls in the high-value leads and the untouchable allies. Your 20s are the forge where you build the engine of perpetual capital. We must then analyze the territorial expansion of the sterile zone. At 25, your square meter must expand into a sovereign estate. You move from renting your environment to owning the geography. You use the capital generated from your product promotion accumulation to acquire hard assets that provide biological security, land with its own water, energy independence, and physical isolation. You are building the citadel of the ancestor. Your goal for the next 5 years is to reach a state where you are location independent but territory secure. You are no longer a digital nomad. You are a cloud sovereign with ground-level teeth. You treat every square meter you own as a sacred laboratory where the system's noise cannot penetrate. The second directive is the cultivation of the shadow network. Now that you have exited the social circles of the weak, you spend your 25th year infiltrating the circles of the titans. You don't network, you interface. You look for the other nodes who have also executed their infant self. You are building a global shadow empire based on value for value exchange. By 30, you should have an encrypted Rolodex of specialists, financiers, and enforcers who operate outside the standard social graph. This is your dynastic shield in motion. These are the people who will help you navigate the black swan events of the 2030s. You are trading social popularity for strategic influence. Furthermore, master the aesthetics of the unstoppable momentum. The world will try to slow you down with responsibility and social conformity. You must meet this with increased velocity. Your 25th year is the time to double the input. If you were making 54 videos, make 108. If you were fasting for 16 hours, fast for 20. You are overclocking your system to see where the structural weaknesses are. You want to break the machine now so you can rebuild it for the long-term war. You are in the stress testing phase of your empire. The cold desolation of your focus is your greatest weapon. You are the primal modern king who is moving too fast for the middlemen to catch. Finally, realize that 25 is the launchpad, not the destination. Most people reach 25 and start settling. You reach 25 and start igniting. Your roadmap is not a career path. It is a trajectory of ascension. You are building the sovereign monument that will stand for a century. On February 21st, you look at the horizon and see not a job but an epoch. You are the architect of the next 10 years, and every day is a tactical deployment toward the final transcendence. The final stage of the 21st February protocol is the construction of the dynastic shield. At 25, you are no longer a solo player in the game of survival. You are the founding father of a lineage. The shield is not a single product or a bank account. It is a multidimensional defense grid designed to protect your sovereign monument from the inevitable social viruses, economic resets, and institutional predation of the coming decades. If your ascension is not protected, it is merely a temporary spike in the graph of history. The ancestor builds a fortress that outlasts his biological presence. On February 21st, you stop building for next month and start building for the next century. The first pillar of the shield is the legal and financial airlock. Most men are integrated into the system. Their assets, their identity, and their children are all property of the state. The sovereign architect performs a structural expatriation. You utilize the capital from your product promotion to move your assets into the shadow jurisdiction. You utilize trusts, foundations, and cloud-first corporations to decouple your control from your ownership. By 26, you should own nothing in your own name, but control everything through your sovereign code. This makes you legally invisible to the middlemen and the tax parasites. You are building a legal moat that ensures that even if you are attacked, your fortress remains untouched. You have moved your wealth into the vacuum where the system's hands cannot reach. We must then analyze the biological guard and the epigenetic mandate. Your shield is only as strong as the nodes that inhabit it. As you enter your late 20s, the selection of the symbiote becomes your highest strategic priority. You are not looking for a partner for social validation. You are looking for a co-architect of the bloodline. You apply the food filter and the sterile zone logic to your entire household. You are creating a high conductivity environment where your future people are protected from the biological death of the middle class. You are hard-coding the values of IOXI3, discipline, sovereignty, and cognitive aggression, into the family BIOS. This is epigenetic engineering. You are ensuring that your children do not have to rediscover the exit. They are born in the open. The second pillar is the technical redundancy of the empire. A shield that depends on a single platform, like YouTube, is a fragile shield. The sovereign architect builds a distributed distribution network. You own your lead capture sovereignty through private databases and shadow nodes. You utilize your shadow team to syndicate your message across every available graph. simultaneously. If one channel is deleted by the social engineers, 10 more appear. This is Hydra logic. You are anti-fragile to censorship and platform risk. Your product is sold through sovereign rails that do not require permission. You have built a technological armor around your income that makes you immune to the deplatforming rituals of the mediocre. You are the ghost in the wires. Furthermore, master the psychological fortification of the successor. The greatest threat to a dynastic shield is the weak son. The system wants your descendants to be soft, entitled, and compliant. You combat this by building a culture of controlled friction. Within your shield, comfort is treated as a contaminant. You create rituals of hardening, physical, intellectual, and strategic challenges that every member of the dynastic unit must pass. You are not providing a safety net for your children. You are providing an armory. You are teaching them how to command the shadow team and how to breathe the AUXI 3 frequency. You are building a human wall of competent sovereign individuals who will carry the sovereign monument into the 22nd century. Finally, realize that the shield is an active process, not a passive object. You do not finish the shield, you maintain the vigilance. At 25, you are the first sentinel. Every decision you make, every trash task you delegate, every hard asset you acquire, and every middleman you delete is a reinforcement of the shield. On February 21st, you stand at the center of your sovereign circuit, and you realize that you are the shield. Your will to power is the electrical current that keeps the digital moat active. You have exited the human comedy and entered the sovereign mythos. You are the ancestor zero, the primal modern king, and the architect of the eternal lineage. The protocol is complete. The 25th year is the year of the foundation.